Visitors to our museum always comment on how much they love Ukrainian food, especially perogies. These simple dumplings are one of the most well-known Ukrainian dishes, and today we want to share our recipe with you. Some people may also know this type of food as vareniki, but perogies is the term that we use here at the Ukrainian Village, as this is the most common word used by Ukrainian pioneers to East Central Alberta. There's many different kinds of perogies, and today we're going to share with you a basic simple version that we use here at the Ukrainian Village. Here's a list of the ingredients that you'll need to make this particular recipe. So the first step that we need to do to make our perogies is to make the filling. So the first step is to peel and boil your potatoes. Save the water, we'll be using that later to make the dough as well. You want to be able to mash your potatoes as well. You can add all kinds of different fillings such as sauteed onion, you can add butter, you can add cheddar, cottage cheese as well. Whatever you want to add to the mix, that's something that you can add to your basic mashed potatoes as well. Once you have your filling, the next step is to make the dough itself. So first of all, you can start by pouring some flour into a mixing bowl. You want to add some oil as well. And a little bit of salt to the mixture. Add in your water. And then you can start to mix up your dough. So remember that this is the water that we used from boiling the potatoes earlier as well. And you might find that at some point your dough might be a little bit too dry, it might be a little bit flaky. So in that case, you'll just add a little bit more water, as I'm about to do here as well. If you find that it's too sticky, then you can always add more flour as well, just to get it to a silky smooth consistency and to have the dough nice and smooth. So that's something that you'll just have to eyeball yourself as well, adding a little bit of flour or a little bit of water as needed. So once you've rolled your dough, it's a silky smooth texture. You want to leave it and let it rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. Make sure that you don't overwork the dough as well. And then we'll get to the rolling stage of the perogies here as well. So before you start to roll it out, you want to make sure that you have your floured surface as well. Not too much, but just so that the dough won't stick to the table. So you can just spread that out a little bit. Also sprinkle the top a little bit, your rolling pin. And from here you want to start to roll out your dough. And you can move your dough around a few times as well. Roll it in different directions just so that you roll it out evenly. Use your muscles, don't be afraid to use those a little bit here as well. So you want to keep rolling out your dough to about 1/8 of an inch. So we still need to roll it out a little bit more, and we'll keep working on it. All right, so we've rolled out our dough. The next step is to cut it out. Some people prefer to use a cup to be able to make the circle shapes. That's something that's an option as well. Today we're gonna be cutting it into strips. It's a lot faster. You don't have to re-roll the dough and flatten it out again and cut the circles. So this is the way that I'll be demoing for today. You can choose the way that you prefer as well. So we're just going to cut a grid-like shape all the way down the dough. All right, so you just want to keep cutting your grid shape across the dough, making your squares. All right, so we're ready to take our squares to put the filling on the inside. If they stick a little bit to the table, if you're finding it's a little bit difficult to take it off the table, that's okay. You can just use a knife and just gently pry it away from the rest of the grid. And just start to peel it back. And we're ready to start to make our perogies. So we have this square shape. And you do want to be able to stretch the dough out just a little bit, not too much, but just so you have a little bit more surface area. You want to place it on the flat part of your palm. You can take a teaspoon, you can take a tablespoon. It's easier if you take less at first. If you need to add more, you can always do that. But you want to take about a teaspoon or so at first to place into the center of your perogy. You can flatten it down a little bit and make sure that the dough doesn't get to the outside edges. We want to keep everything in the center. So you can add as you need. And then from here, you want to be able to fold it into a triangle shape. So you just take the two corners, pinch them in towards one another, and then you press the dough in with your pointer finger. You can take your middle finger and your thumb to pinch the outsides in if you need to, so just so that everything stays in. You want to pinch tightly, probably 2 or 3 times at least. Again, just to seal the edges to make sure that nothing gets out. All right, so when you've done that, you have your outer edges that keeps the filling in the center. It kind of looks like this triangle shape. You can put it off to the side and you can continue to put the filling to the rest of the squares, and then we'll be ready to boil the perogy. All right, so now that we've pinched our perogy, we're ready to place them into the boiling water. Make sure that you've added a little bit of salt, and it takes about 3 to 4 minutes to boil, or until they all float to the top. That's how you know that they're ready. Our perogy have boiled to the top. They're ready to be served. You can add a little bit of butter or a little bit of oil to the plate as well so that they don't stick to one another. Another great way to serve them is with sour cream, with bacon bits as well. And our recipe can be found on our website.